Hey guys, it's another beautiful morning out in the garden. I need to get into this garden bed behind me and harvest my spinach. I've got a couple of them starting to bolt on me and I don't want to lose that harvest. But let me tell you something. I was out here the other day and filmed a great video of me putting up this bug netting over my garden and went through the whole process of actually finding what was eating up my cabbage. I didn't think my broccoli was getting hurt. I ended up going through here, guys, and I killed no less than 50 little green and big green caterpillars off my cabbages and my broccoli. They were so hard to find because they are smart. They like lay on the ribs of the leaves and I couldn't find them at first. And I went through one time and thought I got everything. Went through a second time, found even more. So I ended up going through the bed like 3 or 4 times. I even found like these pools of these tiny little green eggs down in the crevices of the leaves. It was a really disgusting day. But guys, I filmed that whole video and I didn't know Todd had turned the microphone backwards on the camera. So it was like I was talking through a wall on the whole thing. But I want to share with you guys about the bug netting. A company did reach out to us and offered this to us for us to be able then to pass on a coupon code to you guys. We get nothing from this other than sharing the savings. And they're going to select one free purchase. So for anyone that goes on there and buys a insect netting, we're going to leave all the links and descriptions below. First off, the savings are spend $59 or more and you get $6 off. But one of you is going to win a free purchase because if you put in the comments that 1870s Homestead, they're going to select based on a lucky number that we gave them, 1 through 20, I think it was, and we've already told them what our number is. And whoever that person is going to win a free, this is 10 by 20 insect netting. And so they sell all kinds of like weed barrier, so you don't have to buy this, just anything that you purchase. But anyway, I'm going to get in here. Number one, we'll check and see if I'm finding any more damage. I'll show you what that damage looked like. And I'm going to harvest all my spinach. So when I did this, I just used bricks to weigh down the insect barrier. I have the staples, but to me this was just simpler than having to pull up staples every single time. And when I get in here, I'll show you what I used instead of the big hoops because I didn't want to have to go out and buy anything. So I just used I had from my garden stakes a whole bunch that were like broken off. So they were only like maybe 4 foot tall or so. And I got out here with, I was so proud of myself in that video because I did the whole project by myself. I got out here with Todd's Sawzall and sawed them all in half and put them in probably every 2 to 3 feet. And it worked great. So let me take you down here and show you what those buggers did. So they were just like, this leaf is destroyed and they were eating holes all in. Some are definitely worse than others, but I'm not seeing anything new. Honestly, I killed so many caterpillars. I can't imagine there's any more. I don't see any new eggs. So that's good. Now pretty soon, if you guys caught my broccoli, actually I'll probably harvest some broccoli leaves while I'm out here too because they're already ready to be harvested again. If you guys caught that, I'm going to do the same thing with cabbage. I'm going to let it get a little bit bigger yet, but eventually I'm going to start harvesting my young cabbage leaves. My little stainless steel bowl is becoming my go-to. So I'm gonna harvest all these and I'm gonna pull this plant out and show you. And it's gonna get 87 today here, so I know it's just definitely gonna take off on me bolting wise. So see how it's bolted? Almost all of them are like that. And it was funny, I was watching an In My Gardener video not long ago, and he was talking how Michigan has basically 2 weeks of spring. And I tell you what, guys, that is 100% truth. We have no spring at all. There's absolutely no time to grow spinach unless you're growing it early in your greenhouse. And I planted this out so long ago. But by the time it gets big enough to grow, oh, it's ready. It bolts on you within a week or two. So hopefully next year, guys, something exciting. My father-in-law dropped off, you know, kind of one of those carport tent frame structures he had in his backyard that he wasn't using anymore because he built up like a proper shed for his equipment. And I'm gonna just pull all these and give them to the chickens. And we hope that it's gonna be a future greenhouse for us. So that'll be exciting. Okay, that is the last of my lettuce harvest. I'll grow another batch in the fall. But guys, I'm gonna come back through here this year and pull all these plants out and amend the bed, and I'm gonna plant my beets again. So let me grab some of this kale behind you and my broccoli leaves, and then stick around because I'm gonna go show you some fun things that I've found popping up in the garden. Just found another one of those rotten caterpillars on my broccoli. So I am continuing to check them as I go. So I need to still get myself one more net so I can cover this back section. But really, if you don't get all the eggs off, they're just gonna keep hatching. So you have to just, what I've been doing is checking it every single time I come out here, because I found them on my Brussels sprouts too yesterday. So one last thing I'll mention about the weed fabric is some of my concerns where it was going to be too, I guess, gentle of a material that I couldn't use my garden stakes. I thought maybe surely it would rip. I've had this up now for a week, and the material is super, super strong. We've had high winds, heavy rains, and I think it's going to last a really long time. I'm very happy with it. I'm sure I should treat it better and use the hoops, but I'm in loving it. Like I said, I'm going to go order some myself and hopefully get that same discount you guys are getting. So I'm way behind. I said this 2 weeks ago. I needed to get out here and give my onions a haircut. So that's what I'm doing today. We'll harvest these onions, but you guys, I'm going to do a dedicated video to onion maintenance, and I talk about things like spooning your onions, feeding your onions, all the kinds of things that are going to help you guys get really big onions this year. So I'm just going to trim these off till they're about 4 to 6 inches high on each plant, and we'll have these yummy green onions now to put up, use in tonight's dinner or this week's dinner, whatever. I'm just gonna do this one bed for this video, and then I'll come back to you guys with a dedicated video on onion maintenance. All right, well, hopefully you guys can see the bed behind me, and this bed haircutted versus somebody hasn't been to the barber shop in about 3 months. So typically you would do, when you're transplanting your seedlings out, you give them a nice good haircut, and then about 10 to 12 weeks in, you do it again. So I am a couple weeks late on doing this. So I do need to get out here and do it. The onions definitely need to be spooned again. So that's definitely worth its own video. So stick around for that if you're interested in growing the biggest and best onions for storage. I came through yesterday evening and pruned all my tomatoes. And I have, guys, let me bring it down here. Woo! I have my very first tomato blossoms. That's really exciting. Probably about a half dozen plants or so have tomato blossoms, on them. So because I am high intensely planting my tomatoes amongst other crops, I do need to follow the single stemming method. I can't just let them go crazy, otherwise they're just going to suffer, and I'm probably going to deal with fungal diseases and blight and things like that. But I think too I noticed my first pea blossoms. Let's go look together. Here's one that's wide open. Beautiful. So they're just coming on, so probably in a couple weeks or so we'll start harvesting peas. And guys, I do not know what happened right back here. This whole section of beans, nothing. I can count maybe 10 beans popped up in this front square foot. So I'm not sure what happened. So I think what I'm gonna do is go ahead and clean that up and maybe start a second crop of carrots. I think I can do that. Like I mentioned in my last gardening update video, how the strawberries were loaded. Look, we have our first baby strawberries coming on. We usually harvest strawberries all through June, so these will take a couple weeks to start, and then we will, June through early July, we'll be harvesting strawberries. And then last time I gave you guys a zucchini update, I only had the one that was coming up back there. I've since had this one pop, and then that one pop back there. Still nothing up front, but I found where I planted the other zucchini, and I've got 2 coming up, so I'll move one of those over here. Like I mentioned, I'm excited to share it with you because it'll be my first time. I'm gonna try growing zucchini vertically this year, like on a T-post. So we'll see. It always looks like a bush to me, so I'm curious how that's gonna work. The only other thing that I've planted out here that I haven't shared with you, I've got a sweet potato planting video coming up, and I did get all my pumpkins and squash, winter squash planted. So that'll be fun. Pretty soon it's gonna be harvests that aren't just green, and that's what excites me. I love the green, don't get me wrong, but I'm ready to see some oranges and yellows and purples and different shapes and sizes other than leafy greens. Talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching.